Hello, welcome back, guys. Here we are with the second live of this series. I just wanted to let you guys know that we'll be doing this almost every single week. So our next live will be August 24th, Saturday at 12 p.m. EST. I'm going to try to keep it consistent, is what the social media people tell me is important. And then we'll be doing it again on Sunday next week in 7 days, August 25th, also at 12 p.m. EST. So those are our next two live streams. They'll be happening pretty much at the same time next Saturday and Sunday, August 24th, August 25th, 12 p.m. EST. So yeah, apparently that is when most of you guys are on YouTube, is what I'm told. So it's wonderful to see you guys. I see some of you guys joined at like 11:36 a.m. 30 minutes ago. Where can we share our essays? Very, very good question. You guys should send it to or email it to this email over here, essay.portal. I'll put it in the chat, essay.portal@elevated.school. So I would send it there for if you guys want your essay reviewed on the channel for free. Hello, hi guys. It's great to see you all. So wonderful. I learned how to show comments. That's exciting. I would not be here if it weren't for you guys. Like I said, I make videos to serve. And also, yeah, today we'll be looking at 3 essays. And I'll take a look and see, maybe if some of you guys send your essay to this email, I may even pull up one of them today. We'll see how much time we have. And yeah, I'll include a little breakdance break as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's just jump into one of these essays. Let's review it. And yeah, let me know. I'm your biggest fan. Let me know whatever questions you guys have. Please put them in the chat. And that way I can answer them live on the channel. And yeah, we'll have a little breakdance break a little bit later as well. Why not? Maybe I'll play some like light lo-fi music in the background, set the mood. Why not? A Tokyo chill out lo-fi playlist. This is what gets me, in the zone. I just end up studying like crazy when I have something like this. Let me see if I can do this. Is this working? Yeah. All right. Now we're vibing. Yes. Inside. This is what I listen to when I'm just working, editing essays. Okay. And then let's pull up your guys' essays to review. Can everyone see? Yes, this is good. Okay. I'll hide the comments. Let me zoom in so it's a little easier to see as well. Alrighty. So some first housekeeping things. If you guys want your essay professionally edited, please email it, please upload it to our website. We've reviewed like 3,500 essays. Also, our rates increase September 1st. So I would highly encourage you guys to put it there. Oh, not sure if you guys can hear the audio of the computer. Oh, maybe I'll turn it up a little bit. I don't want to make the background lo-fi too loud. How much do we charge for a Common App essay review? Right now, we're charging 24 cents a word for a 3-day turnaround. But again, once we hit September 1st, then our prices go up 50 per something like that. They go up to 32 cents a word. Let me type it in the chat so it's clear. That price hike takes effect on September 1st. So definitely try to send us your essays sooner than later. Here's our little essay portal website. And I'll give you guys a referral code too. You guys can use this referral code, referral15. It'll say, hey, who referred you? Just say Kevin referred you. So yeah, all the pricing is here on our website. And again, many students just use this essay service 2 times, 3 times, and they got into their dream school, which was pretty cool. And yes, grading scale is incredibly harsh. Do not be afraid if, we're editing your essay and I'm like, oh, I got a 6. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you guys, we have students who got into Harvard with a 6. My own essay, I would rate it closer to like a 7. I would not rate my own essay an 8 or a 9. Can we choose Kevin to specifically review our essay? Yes, it will cost extra. But short answer, yes. Okay, I want to make sure we actually get to reviewing some essays. This one is pretty cool. I actually really enjoyed this structure, and this is what I would consider a good essay. So you guys feel free to steal from the structure. You don't necessarily need to steal the actual content of building a puzzle, but I do really like the structure. So the first thing that I do is read the whole thing over. We'll skim it through. I'm not a big fan of necessarily this first line and hook, but I do like talking about puzzles. Let's see. Okay, so we're talking about first grade puzzle over here. I've spent recesses pleading for an interlock. I'd use scissors, force matches, strategies important. So far, so good. I think that, part of me wonders if instead of opening with a really early experience of like, oh, in first grade I did this, it would be better if actually, this happens to many different students. I would, instead of focusing on a puzzle from elementary school, focus on a recent challenge. Like say, before me stands a 10,000 piece Avengers jigsaw puzzle. And I've been working on it for the past, I don't know, 10 days. And, we want to hear more about high school, Camila or Hannah or Tasneem. We don't really want to hear about elementary school, basically applicants. Okay, so let's take a look. Then we have a bit of a switch over here. So I actually kind of liked what was going on with this idea of we can see how this student thinks. And this student is kind of approaching different aspects of their life like a puzzle and trying to figure out what are the different pieces, how do they fall into place. This is actually pretty effective. So I like this a lot. This is really, really effective. I definitely think that this second section where he's talking about powerlifting is more effective than actually the first section. Okay, so then we have, he's talking about Noah. He's trying to figure out why Noah isn't progressing. This is what I would consider problem. Let's see. This all I would say is problem. Actually, having suggested increasing the frequency, this is considered solution. Okay. So this is the student proposing something. Then we have, actually, let me just do it like this so then we can see. Noah's bench was a puzzle set. This is still background, problem, locating faults would weed out. We first eliminated external factors. Another thing, guys, this is a very small change, but actually try not to use this word we, right? Like when you say we, it's very unclear what exactly your contribution is to the solution. So it's so much better to say I, right? Like I discussed with Noah and suggested he eliminate external factors. But those are actually really small changes that do add up. When you say we, we're not sure like, okay, how much did you really contribute? If you're on a robotics team and you say, we won, we built this. I'm like, okay, well, how much did you actually do, right? So again, that is actually a very small thing, but it does add up. It does make a difference. Okay, so I guess this is a little bit more along the lines of solution. My scientific curiosity propelled me to dig through kinesiology staples. This is good. We're starting to see a little bit of curiosity. These were like the corner and edge pieces. It's a little bit more like background information to me. I located the culprit. Noah's long arms produced systemic fatigue. He needed a personalized program. I do really, really like what's going on over here. But to me, this problem gets solved a little bit too quickly. I wish that this intellectual curiosity section was actually, instead of just being 3 sentences long, I wish it was really its own paragraph, and I would multiply it by 2 or by 3. I do like that this student is talking about a custom tailored solution. This particular example of a problem solution is really specific and memorable and unique. And it actually just kind of made me really understand this student's expertise in the subject. So I really did enjoy this moment quite a bit. I think that this could probably be a different sentence over here. Okay, trial and error doesn't always work. Now, yesterday we talked a little bit about different structures. And actually this essay is kind of following a multi-scene structure, right? So that's one of the most successful structures that I recommended to you guys yesterday, for those of you who were there, and a 3-scene montage structure. This student is beginning with puzzles by themselves. Then they start talking about a second person, Noah. And then now they're talking about a third person, Daniel. Okay, so tutoring younger students, we have Daniel. And I'm not even sure exactly what he's tutoring. Okay, algebra. Not exactly the most unique scenario. Definitely teaching someone how to weight lift is a bit better. But let's see what else we have over here. Despite decreasing lecture time and increasing break frequencies, my efforts yielded not even piecemeal improvement. I yearned for the simplicity of cutting pieces to force connection. Instead, I turned to what I once considered blasphemy, asking for help. Okay. So there's a lot of kind of problem over here. It's like my solution is asking for help, and then I basically uncovered a whole other problem. I taught with using something other a whiteboard. I asked him to visualize, eliminate possible numbers. Even if he was correct, I playfully proposed alternate solutions. All right, so there's some narrative gaps that I think are a little bit problematic here. Like the solution is to ask for help, and then it's not quite clear how like this ultimate solution, right, is really related to this. I actually think we can kind of decrease a lot of this and and try to figure out a way to get from here to here way faster. I'm not even convinced that this is the right scene. Honestly, guys, like teaching a younger kid tutoring, maybe that's not the best scene to focus on. It's actually really, really hard to make it. So if you're talking about tutoring a younger kid in some subject like algebra, STEM, robotics, I would encourage you guys to think more about like really unique teaching. Like it's very clear that teaching Noah weightlifting and then figuring out, oh, Noah had long arms. This scene is just so much better, stronger than this scene with Daniel and teaching him algebra. I would recommend actually writing like 4 scenes or 5 scenes, and then you pick the top 3. Your goal is to make something like super duper unique, super different. How many stories have I read about someone teaching a younger middle schooler math? Like 50, 100. How many have I read about, this kid teaching weightlifting? That's actually way more interesting. And bringing in an intellectual dimension into like a physical activity like weightlifting, that's really smart. Honestly, maybe the student should just focus on Noah more than Daniel. So be careful about that. Now, a lot of people ask, what if I am trying to teach someone else an academic subject, right? Like there is a way to make it work. And the way to make it work is, as I described yesterday, when we go back to the V-Spice rubric, we really want to insert more intellectual curiosity. Sorry, we want to insert more intellectual curiosity, yes, and also creative expression, which means creative problem solving. So yeah, you're teaching algebra. Anyone can teach algebra, if I'm being honest. But what makes your particular methodology? I do like to see like, Sudoku-esque puzzles. Maybe bringing in this element of puzzles is getting a little bit better, but I wish that this was like the focus of the solution. Instead of being half a sentence, I wish this was an entire paragraph. Okay. So then he starts talking a little bit more about beyond algebra. I'm not sure if this is really the most relevant. I do see that, we're starting to see this student and how they empathize with others. So that's kind of nice. Part of me also wonders, like really so impressive and significant enough that it would demand admission. I'm not entirely convinced there yet. As an intended major, I look forward to trialing through problem sets, testing this and this. I equally look forward to enlisting the help of others. I didn't really see a lot of like, hey, I'm asking for help from others. I feel like this student was trying to kind of push this angle, but I didn't see a lot of tangible proof here. So maybe we can remove this, especially in the econ major part as well. I'm not entirely convinced that this should stay here in the Common App too. It's very common to write about something more personal in your Common App, and then in your supplementals, you can talk a little bit more about your major. Because some schools will straight up ask this major, or tell us about an intellectual idea that excites you based on the major that you chose. Yale, for example, asks that supplemental question every single year. Okay, looking at the C of the puzzles, I would say this kind of like callback to the beginning seems a little bit forced. So overall, my favorite part was this middle part with Noah. I would rate this essay probably closer to a 6, a little bit less than a 6, maybe like a 5.56. So that's the first essay that we've reviewed. All right. So what can we learn? What can we learn from this? The stage that you guys are at, it's August 18th right now. And I think you guys need to wonder, like, is this problem and solution that I'm talking about, is my scenario, is my circumstance even unique enough, right? So honestly, guys, I made this exact same mistake. My mistake was I wrote about working in my parents' Chinese restaurant, and after I didn't realize it, but my admissions officer, when I created a video where I actually saw my Yale admissions file. Let's see if I can find it. Admissions file, and literally the lady, the admissions officer said, "Oh, this is actually a really cliche story and scenario." Yes, I'll take a look at some of the essays from my email in another 10 minutes or so. We'll review one more essay here, and then I'll take a look and see which new ones we got. So yes, is the scenario fundamentally unique enough? Like this one, defeating a cockroach infestation is actually really, really unique. I actually have not heard of that in out of like 1,000 essays that I've read. I actually recently did an interview with another admissions officer. Her name's Kayla Kirk, and she works at a different firm. She's from Brown, and she wrote her essay about a spider infestation, actually. So yes, it can totally work. I'm gonna send the link to that video over here. Are there 3 essays to review on that doc? Yeah, we might not get to, I think there's 4 essays on this document. We might take a look at 2 of them here and then one of them that you guys have recently sent me. And can I send the vSpice document as well? Yes, let me send that to you guys now in the chat. Hopefully these documents are you guys are able to open them and see them. The vSpice document, I've also made a video about that. It's completely free. It's on YouTube. You guys should check out a lot of these videos. I know it's kind of hard to keep track because I've made hundreds of videos, but I'll send them here in the chat. Okay, cool. Moving on to the next essay. Should we move on to the next essay? Should we do a quick breakdance break? Dun, dun, dun. All right. Let's just take a look at the next essay. Okay, so be wary of cliches. We do have my heart race with excitement is a bit of a cliche. Moments away from taking to the skies. I think you can even just begin and say, I was in the sky, or in the sky is enough, something like that. Or actually, you can even just begin with sitting in the cockpit. I marveled at the array of buttons and switches, even though I'd practiced recognizing them countless times at home. What would be helpful is getting super hyper-specific and talking about what buttons, switches we see. So already we can see that this is a really, really unique scenario. The student is talking about flying a plane, right? How many students will write about flying a plane? Very few. Now, I do recognize that this is a very privileged topic. Not everyone can afford to pilot a plane. But again, the more specific, the more unique your situation, the better. I watched as the instructor flipped switches and pressed buttons effortlessly, breathing life into the aircraft. I kind of like this idea of, the what is it called? when you turn something that's an inanimate object and you inject life into it. Okay, so we're taking off. There's a lot of context here as well. So this is what I would call background information. I really do want to reduce this as much as possible and get to the part where we see this main character operating the plane, doing things, making learning, growing. He handed me, this feels like background. The airspeed is climbing. All this is, I would say, still very, very background oriented. Background. So then we have a flashback and we actually get into more problem. I wish, how can we replace this, guys, and turn this into more impressive solution? I think it would be way better if the student said something like, I was prepared. I'd spent, 150 hours studying flight controls, simulating it in my bedroom, showing the effort that this student put into flying the plane as opposed to the instructor next to them being like, do this. You guys see the difference? So we really want to keep the spotlight on you. And I think that this is a really common mistake where there's another character in the scene and all of a sudden the spotlight is on the instructor. We don't really care about the instructor, not at all. Or maybe the instructor compliments the student and he's like, I see you've been studying, you know what to do, and something like that. So maybe the student goes through the steps, they go through the checks. They're like, do this. But then we can see how the student, we can see their specific knowledge. We can see their initiative. We can see their curiosity. Does that kind of make sense, guys? Converting that problem to solution, that's really, really important. If that's the only thing you learned from today's live stream, I'll be overjoyed. Converting that problem to solution. All right, so then we have medical issue over here. I have read many essays these days which have medical issues, and generally speaking, I wouldn't really recommend writing about them that much. If you choose to talk about a medical issue, I'd keep it very brief. I'd focus on you guys getting better. But there is a whole other section in the Common App where you can write about medical issues, the additional information section. A lot of students don't even know this section exists. the additional info section where you can, let's say you run out of activities to mention in your Common App, you can put that there, put extra activities, put extra honors, awards, extenuating medical circumstances. If you guys had issues related to family and that affected your performances, definitely take a look at that. So guys, send me your essays and they will be considered for the next live stream. Okay, I will try to pull out an essay that you guys have recently sent me in the past 20 minutes, but I promise that the essays you send me today will be reviewed next week. Does that make sense? On like Saturday and Sunday. So I do want to make sure, like, yes, I said that yesterday. So I was like, yesterday's essays, the ones that you sent me yesterday will be reviewed today. The essays you send me today will be reviewed next week. But I'm gonna do my best to take a look at as many as I can. So a lot of problem as well. My life changed. I didn't know what I could eat. Crohn's drained me. So there's a lot of problem, right? Like we can say already maybe 50% of the essay is things happening to the students. I don't even think we need 3 paragraphs about Crohn's disease. I would make it at most 1. Okay, my father was unwilling to watch me waste away. Again, we have the emphasis is on someone else. I would rather the students say, I decided to ask for help, right? I initiated long talks with my doctor, with my father. I researched breathing exercises to mitigate pain. Something along those lines. This is getting a little bit better where the student finally is talking about solution here. I wish we had gotten here way, way sooner, guys. This happens to so many essays. So please learn from these mistakes, right? How many words have passed by? 340 words before we start to see the student kind of talking about how they overcome their medical challenge. Again, I find myself wondering, is this really related to the initial hook of flying the plane, right? It does feel a little bit disconnected over there. I learned what my body could tolerate through lots of trial and error. I still think some more specifics could be nice. And yeah, this is where I wish this paragraph was about 2 or 3 times longer. This is solution, right? And I really want to see how this student basically, like a montage of them persevering, growing, that would work. Then things got a little bit better. Medical certificate was deferred, couldn't become a pilot. I felt lost, returned to a little bit more problem. And I still think that a lot of this is problem, more or less. This was another challenge I refused to let daunt me. I learned to assess how it affected. This needs to be an entire paragraph. Guys, actually, I think I saw this exact same problem yesterday. So we need to see this student's technical knowledge in, even though they were in pain in the cockpit, how they really managed and mitigated that. Is there a place where I announce these lives? It's all on the YouTube, what is it called? Where is it? It's on that community posts page. And then, it'll be down here on the community tab. So you guys can see all the future live streams. And then I think if you just go to the channel and you click live, you'll see when the next lives are. So hopefully that helps in terms of knowing when the next live streams are. Can you still review the essays, send your feedback? I can't send it to the link in description. Okay. Can we get a sneak peek at the other essays on the document? Let's see. Well, let's finish this one, and then I'll take a look at an essay that you guys have recently sent me in the past 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, so next up we have, I completed my first stage check. There's a lot of sort of telling that's going on here as well. Very, very important tip, guys. Please pay attention to this. Your essay should feature things that are not on your activities list. You know what I mean? Like basically this can appear in your Common App activities list. So therefore it shouldn't really appear in your Common App if possible. I really want to focus more on the characters, the situation, that really specific technical knowledge of how this students learn to mitigate their pain, manage their pain, and learn how to fly this plane at the same time. Again, I want to share my story to build a community on campus. I wish we saw some more proof of that. And then my dad rekindled this, received my license. So yeah, there is a very unique problem. There is a very, very interesting scenario, but I just think that this essay did not pass the problem solution takeaway test. If this is the only thing you learned today, seriously, guys, I would say I've edited 1,000 essays, and the first time I read them, 90% of them will have this problem. 90% of them will have this problem, which will be the problem is things happening to you, right? So this is background information, this is context, this is, you basically suffering or dealing with some sort of scenario. Solution is the opposite. It's you making things happen. It's you growing, actively making your community a better place. And then takeaway solution is exactly what it sounds like. It's you kind of reflecting on your experiences. Okay, cool. Awesome. So let's take a look at some other essays that you guys have sent. Just give me one moment. I'll pick a new essay. How do I stop screen share? Kevin in a cave. Yes. All right. Let's find one essay that you guys have recently sent in the past 10 or 15 minutes. Just give me a second. In the meantime, yeah, feel free to ask me questions in the chat. I'm going to do my best. Please keep in mind that you guys send over hundreds of essays, so I'm trying. Give me 1 second as I pull up one more for us to take a closer look at. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, if you want to send essays to be reviewed on the portal, please please send them to, give me 1 second, please send them to this site over here, essay.portal@elevated.school. All right, essay.portal@elevated.school. That'll be the goal. And then once you email it to that email address, it'll be considered for future live streams as well. Okay. I am a little bit mindful of time, so I'll take a moment to answer some of these questions. How would you go about writing an essay about a personal trait? That's a little bit vague. I wonder if you can tell me what personal trait. Any suggestions for a family responsibility essay? Yes, this is a really, really great topic. And I think in this particular essay, you kind of really want to focus on relationships. So if your family responsibility is you're cooking a special meal or you're responsible for a tradition, I think you really want to show how you go above and beyond, right? Like anyone can sure cook linguine for their family, anyone can set up a Christmas tree, but show that you did your very best to create the most special Christmas tree with the most unique ornaments and really go above and beyond in that family responsibility. Yes. Okay. Is Christmas off limits? It's not off limits, actually. Again, it just talks about how you celebrate Christmas. So you can be like, most families, a good way of thinking about it, guys, is writing something like this. Like most families celebrate Christmas by X, Y, and Z, but we do A, B, and C, right? Like my family celebrates Christmas by making this gigantic seafood hot pot in Florida. It never snows there. And I say my responsibility is dealing with finding the right appropriate level of spiciness, cracking open these crabs, and then, meat to my cousins. That's how I show my love. That would totally work. Okay. Cave diving and got stuck. That is a brilliant topic, Caleb. You should 100% write about that. I like that a lot. Any tips for big public schools like UMich, Georgia Tech, UT Austin, UCs? Well, those schools are all really, really different. They kind of look for different things. UMich and UCs have like a completely different application. That's a bit of a complicated question. Okay, let's take a look at one more essay. Suggestions for financial crises in families. Oh, interesting. This could be something that you write about in the additional information section, or you can also say like, hey, because we dealt with so many financial difficulties, that's why I became so much more financially independent, or that's how I got into entrepreneurship, that sort of thing. Okay, great question here. What does Yale look for? Yale, more than anything, looks for leadership and service. They love, love, love leadership and service. They're a little bit cookie cutter as well. What I mean by that is they like to see you succeeding in very established clubs, like student government. They love that. Student newspaper, love, love, love that. Yale loves that. Things like Model UN, they're a big fan of that. Sure, they also enjoy entrepreneurship, but like schools like Stanford, MIT value entrepreneurship, I would say, even more than Yale. So Yale looks for that. This is Yale look for. They also look for light and truth. That's the Yale motto. So they really like to see people who are like, pursuing knowledge in hopes of uncovering a deeper truth they're meaning. There are a lot more questions over here. I'm going to take a look at one more essay and then we'll wrap it up for today. And then drum roll, please. How do I share my screen? Okay. I think this is it. That's it. Okay, cool. Oh no, that's right. There we go. Wow. Well, I'm struggling. Okay, so this is a really common technique for an essay, which I actually think is incredibly successful. It is what we call a motif essay. And a lot, when it comes to motifs, a lot of admissions officers or college counselors, particularly college counselors, let's say at your school, in your high school, will say, don't do it. They'll say, stay away from it. Don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I actually think you guys should use motifs in an essay. That is actually one of our biggest requirements to go from like a 7 to a 9. We do have a good motif. My concern with many of your guys' essays is that you guys make the motifs way too complicated. So stick with a simple motif and you'll tend to do a lot better. The more unique of a motif, the better. I would say this motif it could probably be more unique. Yesterday we looked at a closet, and this one is about a desk. So the more unique your motif, one of my most memorable ones was last year. One of the best essays we reviewed was about the student talking about his pen and how his pen symbolized chaos and creativity. You guys might have seen that video already. Okay, overall, this is a good first hook. My worst friend lives upstairs in my room, refurbished IKEA desk. It's home to items that never made the trash. We have a bunch of examples over here. We have a lot of personality, which is really nice. And then also, again, we talked about this yesterday, but students using kind of questions to display curiosity is good. I don't think that this is probably the best use of questions, though. My disordered desk was akin to how my mind worked. I think that right now, these questions just seem a little bit, kind of one-dimensional. They don't really display a lot of crazy inquiry. I wouldn't say that this is the most inquisitive question. So I like the idea. The execution's a little bit off. Then we have, then we have this sort of repetition over here with my boy, which I don't think is quite working. Again, I think you have to be really, really ruthless with your guys' dialogue. Like pretty much dialogue, I would at most use just a few lines. And like I said yesterday, in the previous live stream, admission officers have very strong opinions about dialogue. Some don't even think dialogue should belong in your essay at all. If you use it, I would use it incredibly sparingly. I don't think you need this at all. Okay, this is much better. So again, guys, actually, like it never hurts to name drop specific books and actually specific authors or specific professors, lectures that you've watched. That's honestly like pretty solid academic curiosity, intellectual vitality. So that's what we like to see. Then, this student has a sentence like this, but it's not specific enough. Okay, with my knowledge, I basically organize my desk. Right? The question is how. It's not super duper clear quite yet. I want to know a bit more of that process. I want to know more of those details. Right? Anyone can organize their desk. So think about what you guys did to go up and beyond, like times 10, times 100. If you're like, okay, I realized my desk wasn't working. So you know what? I built a completely new desk. Or you know what? I was inspired. Have you guys seen this anime, Death Note? So in Death Note, he hides the journal in a secret compartment. And you're like, okay, I wanted to build something like that. I created a secret compartment in my desk. Does that make sense? Like that's way more unique, refreshing, and something only you could do as a student. So if you're just like, I read some books, I organized my desk, it doesn't pass this test that I mentioned earlier, that it's something so unique that only you could pull off. I really don't think that we need the dialogue over here. Sophomore year rolls around, and we have more examples of intellectual curiosity. Now, the issue is, again, what I talked about. Thanks, light is too smart for me. My voice is coming unclearly. Okay, let me get rid of this YouTube over here. Hopefully it improves a little bit. Let's see if I'm on the right Wi-Fi. Okay, now the issue with this is what I call Kevin in a cave or student in a cave, right? So we're talking a lot about academic curiosity, but we don't see how this student is actually taking their academic curiosity to help others, to make the world a better place. I want us to get to that moment pretty soon. So it's just talking a lot about the desk. It's, you know, a convoluted junkyard. And I want to see more of social impact, right? Community impact. Okay, so then it's more examples of sort of intellectual curiosity over here. What I would do is merge all these into one paragraph. All these green sections where he's talking about Steven Pinker, Toby Ord, building planes, that should just be one paragraph. And then boom, instantly, guys, this is so key, but we need, like, this is a really great formula. Okay, so first you have Kevin in a cave. That's good. Honestly, we want to see you studying things alone, building, tinkering. This is good. But this should not be the entire essay. We need a paragraph like this. And then instantly, the next paragraph should be Kevin or whoever, you guys, I'm just using my name as an example, making the world a better place. And again, guys, if you want your essays professionally edited, please visit our website, www.elevated.school/edit-my-essay. So that is a paid service, and you guys will get your essays back within 3 days. If you want me to potentially review your essay for free on YouTube, then please send it to this email. What's the email? Give me 1 second. essay.portal@elevated.school. Let me put it here so that it's easier for people to see. Okay. So this kind of basically formula structure is just so potent. It's amazing. It really, really just works like a charm in so many Common App essays that I would really encourage you guys to just make sure that you are not missing this. I think students focus way too much on just building things. I'm alone. I'm in my bedroom. Okay, right? It makes it sound like basically you're a little bit antisocial or introverted, but we need to see you making the world a better place. Again, this can take many forms. You don't need to say, I helped 100 people. I helped 1,000 people. Just say that I helped 1 or 2 other people. Focus on the relationship. You know, I helped my younger cousin. I started this group. It could even be virtual. It doesn't have to be in person, but we just need to see, you know, you going out of your bedroom and helping other people. Okay. Navigate. My mind wondered how far I could go. A lot of this is very, very internal. It's taking place in the student's mind. And I want to see more of things taking place in the real world. Then now we have this running group where we are getting friends to run, which is good. But I don't, again, guys, connecting the dots, this does not seem very connected to like the previous ideas that were mentioned up here about the disorganized, messy desk. Okay, so all in all, I would probably rate this essay closer to a 5, less than a 6, definitely less than a 6, maybe like a 5, 5.5, because of those 2 or 3 main structural issues. Alrighty, guys. So that is pretty much it for today. But before I let you guys go, please send in your essays so that I can review them. If you guys send them in more than once, then there is a stronger likelihood that I will review them. Please don't email me the same essay like 50 times. I can't believe I have to say that, but one student emailed me their essay 40 times yesterday. So what you can do is say, hey, I've attended 2 live streams. Here's what I learned. Thank you so much. I sent in my essay previously. I made some, updates to it based on your recommendations and what you've talked about during the live stream. Can you review it? And chances are I will be a lot more likely to review it if you guys phrase your message that way. Instead of, Kevin, review essay now, please. Why no essay review? And so yeah, that's a big difference, right? All right. So how long will the admissions officer spend reading an essay? Usually they spend less than 10 minutes on the entire application. They may spend, again, less than 5 minutes reviewing your Common App. What they'll do is they'll review your extracurriculars, your stats first, and then they will take a look at your main essays. So that's really important, actually. The way admissions works, guys, is let's talk a little bit about how admissions works, and then I'll let you guys go, because I think a lot of people have no idea how it actually works. Just give me 1 second. Okay, this should work. How admissions work. All right, step 1 is you basically get an initial reader. Now, the initial reader, guys, is actually separated by geography. A lot of people don't know this, but geography is one of the biggest factors for you guys getting into college. That's just a fact. Like many schools will say, we can only take 5 kids from India a year. It's kind of rough. Or they have a quota for roughly how many kids they're looking to accept from Iowa or Indiana, or bigger states are definitely, California, Texas, they take a lot more students. Now, for example, Yale. Yale loves taking kids from Connecticut. Harvard loves taking students from Massachusetts. So that plays a big role. So your essay is reviewed by initial reader, and it's separated both by geography and the type of school you go to. Meaning, is it a private school? Is it a public school? Is it an international school? What system do you use? Because the same admissions officer is very familiar with all the schools from, I don't know, let's say Afghanistan, or very familiar with all the schools from the Middle East. And same thing, they'll have like specific admissions officers who maybe even went to New York schools or went to Massachusetts schools. And that way they really understand that process. If they like your essay, if they like your application, I should say, then they pull you out from the pile. Now you will be reviewed in a committee. And now this is where you've heard of like, okay, there's a bunch of different people in a committee. There's maybe 5, 10 people. It depends on the school. And they kind of have to, they will rank your different parts of your application. They'll rank your ECs. Sometimes they have a rating on 1 to 5, or they may rank your stats, your honors, your awards, your essays. They rank all this information. Again, it's very different depending on school to school. But that's kind of how the process works. And then at the very end, there will be some sort of deliberation and voting. The other thing, there's a really important thing that you guys should note. This is colleges want diverse classes, not necessarily diverse students. So what they'll say is like, okay, we actually already got a lot of Asian boys who study math from Florida. So we don't need so many Asian math boys anymore. In general, guys, when it comes to admissions, you want to be the fish that swims against the current. You want to position yourself as differently as you can. And that's what I did, right? Like I knew that a lot of Asian boys would be doing STEM. So I naturally gravitated towards the humanities, but I didn't just say I want to do humanities. I said I really want to study international relations. I want to be a diplomat, right? That's my dream. That's my goal. And that already increases your odds. The other thing that you guys should notice here is that basically you're competing against other kids who are in your school district. You're competing against like Kevin. They would never compare Kevin to Sam from California. They would compare Kevin to other private boarding school students in that region, specifically other Asian boys from the private school circuit. Does that make sense? So that's another thing to kind of keep in mind. If you know that a bunch of kids in your school are applying to one college and you know that they all want to study STEM, right? It could be smart to kind of position yourself a little bit differently. So that would be my advice. The other thing to note is that essays and recommendations play a humongous role in college admissions. Like experts will say up to 30 to 40%. That's insane. Like keeping in mind that your stats, your grades, your test scores are another 30 to 40%. Let's just keep it simple. Let's say everything is 33%, 33%, ECs are 33%. Now think about it this way. Think about it like this. Your ECs, your extracurriculars. How much time did you spend on your extracurriculars? Like 1,000 hours. You think about it, right? How many hours did you spend on your stats, your grades, your test scores? 1,000 hours. So, how much time do you think you should be spending on your essays and recommendations? This is why a lot of kids who get into Ivies or top schools will say, this is draft number 10 of my essay. That's the norm. Yes, some kids will write it the week before, the night before, but those kids are the exception, not the rule. Like, I'm not going to say you need to spend 1,000 hours on your essays. That's ridiculous. But I would say you're going to want, at least solid 8 drafts per essay, and just take it very, very, very seriously. And again, if you want your essays professionally reviewed, feel free to upload them to our website. Our rates do go up September 1st, so I would really recommend that you guys submit them before September. All right, so we have a lot of different questions. Hi, Samiha, nice to see you. Yeah, I'm meeting with Shazad tomorrow. Honors and awards aren't valued too much. That's pretty false. I will tell you for a fact that they're super highly valued, and it's going to be really hard to get into a top school if you do not have national or international awards. All right. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Let's wrap this up with a little breakdance clip live. Let me play some music. What should I dance to? I'm feeling some Eminem. Dance for 5 minutes, and then we'll wrap up the live stream. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a kind comment, guys. I wouldn't do this if it wasn't for you guys. Okay, just give me a second. Let's see what we got. Let's move the chair. Does this work? Can you guys see what's going on here? My wallet out.
Look, if you had one shot, one opportunity, set everything together one moment, to capture, just let it slip. Yo, his palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, his vomit on his sweater already. He's nervous, but on the surface he looks ready. He dropped bombs, but he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking how? Everybody's choking now. The clock's run out, time's up, over, loud. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes gravity. Choke, he's so mad.
Okay, time for lunch. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Take it easy. Peace.